The protein obsession is out of control.
Premier Protein, my ride or die.
New protein Eggo waffles.
Crush hunger with Hot Pockets high-protein steak and cheddar.
Protein's in your water, your chips, your
Protein in your water is crazy. How do you even do that? That sounds like it would taste terrible.
donuts, even your damn pasta. It's not just you. Protein is suddenly everywhere. Every year, its search popularity has been increasing, while the number of new products marketing their protein content has almost doubled in the last 2 years. Some companies have even tried selling protein vapes, because 71% of people aim to eat more protein in 2024, up from 59% in 2022.
That kind of makes sense though, because your only other options are, do you plan to eat more fats or carbs? And nobody's going to be like, yeah, this year I think I'm going to eat more fat or eat more carbs. Like, no, if you're going to eat more of something, it may as well be protein. Plus, you can charge so much more money if something is high protein. It probably costs just exactly the same to produce, and then you just throw some extra amino acids in there, and then you can market it as high protein, and you make way more money.
I can't hit my protein.
20 whole baby belts.
Not going.
It's protein time.
But if you thought influencers were unhinged with this protein craze, just wait until you see the companies cashing in. From shady marketing to ridiculous new products, they've managed to rebrand everyday foods to charge a premium. But take a look closer and you'll see this protein boom isn't nearly as innocent as it looks.
Cheerios under fire tonight. The new lawsuit claiming a new version of the classic with more protein has a lot more of something else as well.
So why is this protein gold rush happening now? How are companies getting away marketing regular products as protein snacks? And most importantly, what do you actually need to know before getting tricked by the label?
I'm going to guess two things. One, I feel like a lot of these people are just lying and saying that there's protein that there just simply isn't in there because like nothing in America is regulated when it comes to food. You can put essentially anything on the shelf and then only afterwards can people sue over it. Or two, it's just like the amount of protein it already has in it and they're just rebranding it to make it look like that's a lot of protein.
Protein, I love protein. I love protein too. Protein rocks.
Protein's first true disciples were bodybuilders. By the 1970s, early sports science and gym culture had made it clear protein was essential for muscle repair and growth. But the first
along with anabolic steroids. If you think they're just doing it from protein, you are sadly mistaken.
few supplements were awful. Protein of the sea was gritty, fishy, and borderline inedible. But as the fitness industry exploded, so did the demand for something better. By the 1980s, dairy-based protein, which was smoother and better tasting, became the gold standard.
What girl's gonna go for me with a body like this?
Hey, if the sight of yourself at 18 doesn't convince you, Tom, listen to your senior year girlfriend.
Hi, Tom. I'm waiting.
It is crazy that they are one, casually body shaming like 8-year-olds into not being jacked enough, and then also sexualizing women in like an advertisement for kids. No wonder we have a men's body image crisis. If you weren't yolked at the age of 8, then you were never gonna get a girlfriend.
Milk, it does a body good.
Outside of the gym though, nutrition trends were dominated by one thing: low fat. A handful of observational studies in the 50s and 60s, followed by official dietary guidelines in the 70s and 80s, blamed saturated fats for heart disease. Food companies saw low fat as a marketing goldmine, even if it meant replacing fat with sugar.
Dannon low-fat yogurt, a good thing going for you every day.
By the late 90s, the cracks were obvious. Obesity rates kept climbing. The backlash came in the form of Atkins and other low-carb diets, flipping the villain from fat to carbs and putting protein and fat back in fashion. Through the early 2000s, supermarkets' health aisles became a battleground between low-fat and low-carb products.
It's interesting how the marketing just kind of seems to be going in a circle. Like we've got, oh, it's low fat, which means we increase, the carbs. And then it's like, oh, well, it's low carbs, which means we increase the protein. It's like, oh, maybe in the future, for some reason, it'll become, well, low protein, which means we increase the fat. And just like every 20 or 30 years, a new micronutrient becomes the thing that companies go after.
Meanwhile, social media was taking bodybuilding mainstream. Whey protein had become cheaper, tastier, and heavily promoted by influencers. Suddenly, high-protein everyday foods like Fage Greek yogurt and Quest bars were trending well beyond the gym. Brands began to notice something. Carbs had been demonized, fat had been demonized, but protein was untouchable. By the 2020s, longevity-focused experts like Dr. Peter Attia were praising protein not just for bulking, but for preserving muscle with age, supporting immunity, and keeping you full. Protein now had a health halo. And then came the perfect storm. A global lockdown, widespread weight gain, and a renewed obsession with health. Weight loss drugs became mainstream, so dietitians urged patients to eat more protein to avoid muscle wastage while eating less. So now, protein-boosted products are almost seen as a shortcut to a healthy body.
There's only one way to reach the top without sacrifice. Cheating!
By this point, if your product wasn't high in protein, it looked outdated, so companies either reformulated to add it, or used marketing tricks to make it seem like they had. There's one main problem with many high protein products. They aren't high protein, and it takes a wizard to spot the tricks used to legally get away with it.
I would bet you if you ask someone how much protein that they need, 90% of people would not even really be anywhere close. Obviously, it's different for someone who's just kind of living their life and trying to be generally healthy versus someone who's super into fitness. But the term high protein means nothing because almost nobody knows how much protein they should be having. I don't think even most people know how many calories they should be having or how many carbs or fats they should be having, because obviously you need all three of them. But I think most of that knowledge is just kind of secluded to the fitness nut side of the world.
Take this bag of chips. Apparently, high protein. Sounds solid until you realize a serving has just 3 grams of protein, less than a slice of bread. Then there's this high protein chocolate bar, 27 grams of protein, but also a massive...
It's gonna be like, yeah, it's like 700 calories.
455 calories.
That's a whole meal worth of calories right there in one chocolate bar. And it's like no added sugar, and then there's 3 asterisks right next to it. 27 grams of protein, also with an asterisk. Those asterisks tell a crazy story of companies being like, well, we want to lie, but we'll get in trouble if we don't tell you we're lying, so.
It should be illegal to write this on you. 20% of your daily protein needs.
It feels like every aisle is now stacked with the same ultra-processed snacks, only now they're boasting about an extra gram or 2 of protein.
This shite has 12 grams of protein for 250 calories.
The Kardashians' popcorn has...
just for reference, 12 grams of protein is 2 eggs, which is about 120 to 140 calories. So it's essentially doubling that. Most likely it's loaded with sugar, and that's why it's so high calorie.
7 grams of protein per 150 calories. Sure, it's a step up, but at twice the price, it's a pretty expensive sprinkle.
I think that's my biggest issue with this, is that it's not so much whether or not it has protein or protein added or whatever. It's that when something gets protein added, even if it's just the tiniest amount, it suddenly essentially doubles the price. Because companies know that people are willing to pay more for what they perceive as healthy food, because we have this myth that eating and living healthy is more expensive than not eating or living healthy. The health food premium is the real thing that's getting out of control.
How can a Nature Valley bar that's only 17% protein still slap protein on the front? To understand how that's even...
Did you say 17% protein? That's not what that number means.
Only 17% protein.
That's not percentage of the bar. That's percentage of your daily value based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So it's saying that it's 17% of your total daily protein needs if you are eating a 2,000 calorie diet.
Still slap protein on the front. To understand how that's even legal, you've got to understand the loopholes they don't want you to know about. In the US, if a product has just 10 to 19% of the daily recommended value of protein, it can legally be called a good source of protein. 20% or more, now it's high protein. But here's the catch.
The daily recommended is like 50 grams of protein or something absurdly low, because the studies for it came out in like the 1970s or something like that. It is kind of absurd that these have never been updated.
That daily value is based on just 50 grams of protein a day, which is way below what most people would benefit from.
And that's just the daily recommended to avoid malnutrition. Anything under that and you are actively malnourished. And essentially every study ever has shown that having more protein than that, up to like absurd amounts, like 2 grams per pound of body weight, is actually much, much better for you and leads to longevity, weight loss, general health trends, etc.
Fat loss or building muscle, at least according to the most up-to-date science. But by this rule, if a product has 5 grams of protein, it's a good source. 10 grams or more, now it's high protein. Even if it's surrounded by 300 calories of gloop. In the UK and EU, it's a little bit different. If 12% of the calories come from protein, it can be labelled as a source. Over 20%, and it's high protein.
That's the best way to do it, is a percent of the total calories in the bar. Because nobody knows how much protein they should have in a day outside of the fitness community. So having it as a total percentage of the calories makes so much more sense. Because then you can get into things like nuts, eggs, like healthy things that have a lot of protein in them.
So we have many companies including just enough protein in order to make these claims. And when a company doesn't meet these already low thresholds, there's plenty of legal loopholes they can jump through. They could claim 50 grams of protein, then put in small print per pack, or as Cheerios Protein did, add an extra 0.7 grams of protein to regular Cheerios, double the portion size, and then claim 11 grams of protein with milk, which is
with milk is crazy. We should do that for everything. Like eggs have 20 grams of protein if you eat your eggs with milk. This slice of pizza, 15 grams of protein with milk. The more you think about it, the crazier it gets, because we can claim that this has a certain amount of protein if we then tell you you have to add another ingredient to do it. I could claim that a piece of chocolate cake has 50 grams of protein if I write under it with protein shake. You have to have 2 scoops of protein in milk and then it's 50 grams of protein. Yeah, like obviously if I add protein, it has protein.
Which is where most of that extra protein came from. While conveniently leaving out that this great new product has 17 times the sugar per serving.
What the fuck?
And even the shakes aren't innocent. Slim Fast boasts 10 grams of protein, but that's with fat-free milk. The powder on its own, a measly 2 grams of protein.
Then what is the rest of it? Does it give the serving size in here? Okay, so it's got 22 servings and it's total of 572 grams. So 572 divided into 22 servings, we get 26 grams per serving with only 2 of that being protein. What is the other 24 grams? Is it just sugar and then just like powdered filler? Jeez.
Companies often dodge strict rules by using vague terms. Instead of saying high protein, which is regulated, they say things like protein packed. Like these protein packed balls, which only have 4 grams of protein per serving.
I also added 2 times the protein on here because companies love to do that all the time. You just have to compare to a comparable product. In this case, it has 2 times the protein of Twix.
They'll often choose a low protein product as a baseline to make bold claims. Many companies will also include imagery to give their product a health halo, including images of nutritious whole foods on the packaging. Or they'll say something like it has as much protein as an egg, implying that it's just as good, when in reality, it's nowhere near as nutritious.
Also, a single egg doesn't have that much protein. It has like 6 grams. So, I mean, 2 slices of bread has as much protein as an egg, even though I think most people would know that 2 slices of bread is not nearly as good as just having a whole egg.
In fact, a lot of protein-boosted foods, like breads or chips, use lower quality sources, like pea or wheat protein. If you already eat plenty of meat, eggs or dairy, it's not a big deal. But if most of your protein comes from these ultra-processed foods, you might be hitting your numbers without properly fueling for muscle repair or growth. Protein quality matters, not just the total. But even when a product adds a meaningful amount of protein, it often comes with a trade-off. To mask the chalky taste or rubbery texture, companies add extra fats, sweeteners, sodium, or other additives. It might taste better, but it can also mean more calories, and ingredients which don't necessarily benefit you. Companies will often take a high sugar, high fat bar, slap 10 to 20 grams of protein in it, and suddenly it's a performance snack.
This is Snickers Pro Plus, not protein, just pro to imply protein. If we use a king-size Snickers bar, it has 8 grams of protein, so we can highlight that. And
I remember I was at the store and I was looking at protein bars and I felt like the macros weren't very good. It was like 8 or 10 grams of protein per bar with 200 and something calories. I was like, that seems a little low. So I walked over to the candy aisle and I picked up Snickers, and the macros were exactly the same between the Snickers bar and the alleged protein bar.
Plus can simply mean plus energy from peanuts.
Food companies have figured out a cheat code. Slap the word protein on a product, charge extra, and watch the profits roll in. Protein pasta can be almost twice the price for just an extra 3 grams of protein. It's an easy way to charge more for your cereal. But sometimes, these are just regular products, marketed as high protein.
5.1 grams of protein. 5.1 grams of protein. Lidl, are you flipping mad?
Just about enough to claim a source of protein on the front. But it allows companies to make massive profits. And let's face it, often get away with them tasting horrendous.
I mean, nobody was surprised that they're just doing it for money, right? Like, companies will jump on whatever trendy bandwagon they have to in order to turn a buck. I don't think capitalism is anything that's blowing anyone's socks off these days.
Because it's healthy.
Hi, quick question. Is the main ingredient in all protein bars shit?
With the fitness industry growing, protein has only become more valuable to the public. So when people realize they've been tricked by a protein label on regular food, they get understandably frustrated.
This is a protein bar. This is a protein bar. This is a steaming pile of wine.
This isn't a small trend, it's a full-blown protein gold rush. In the first 3 months of 2025 alone, 8.3% of all new food products bragged about being a source of protein. That's up from 6.1% in 2024 and just 4.6% in 2023. But most people still believe protein equals healthy, so companies get away with the fine print. Take these collagen protein gummies, just 0.15 grams of collagen per serving. That's less than a third of a Tic Tac. Still, people leave 5-star reviews because they taste good and they seem—
I'm sorry, what is this? Collagen gummies, type 1 hydrolyzed collagen. So it's just a collagen gummy that has no collagen in it?
healthy. More and more, we're just getting catfished by clever marketing. And the worst part? They often jack up the protein while gutting the actual nutrition. Let me show you how dumb it can get. Let's say you're trying to lose weight on 2,000 calories a day with a protein goal of 150 grams. You could achieve this with the following. For breakfast, protein cereal, a protein Pop-Tart, some collagen gummies, and a Hubba Bubba whey shake. For lunch, protein spread in a protein sandwich, some birthday cake peanut butter protein.
I'm sorry, these meals look like shit. If you eat like that, please seek help. You must hate living so much. It takes minorly more effort to eat better than this, even if you're doing something like one of those meal kits, you know, HelloFresh or Hungry, whatever.
And protein chips. For dinner, protein pizza with a protein beer to wash it down. Still under your goal? No worries, just vape the rest. Congrats, you hit your macros. Now try not to protein yourself, because you've consumed loads of sugar alcohols and additives.
And you've also consumed no actual nutrition, right? There's no fruits, there's no vegetables, there's not a single whole product in all of that. Just absolute mess of a day's meals.
Not nearly enough fiber, and you'll probably still be hungry, since ultra-processed food just isn't as filling as whole foods. I learnt the hard way as a teenager. During lockdown, there wasn't much fresh food in my area, and I was convinced COVID meant instant death. So I basically lived on protein products ordered online. Sure, I hit my calories and lost weight, but I also racked up deficiencies, felt bloated, and barely ate any fruit or veg. These products tend to be stripped of the vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients you'd find in whole foods. And Michael Pollan calls that narrow thinking nutritionism. To make things worse, protein-fortified junk often comes with a premium price tag, which is the main issue, especially when you consider that most of these products aren't really high protein. All these products have their place in a balanced diet, but if your diet boils down to chasing protein claims on flashy labels, you've basically become a marketer's dream.
Your protein powder. What's the next step?
Protein products shouldn't be demonized. They can offer convenience and often taste surprisingly good. If a shake helps you hit your protein goal, brilliant. But many companies are just passing off regular treats as protein products. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. All the while, actual Whole Foods sits sadly in the corner with no marketing team behind them.
Everyone calls protein a supplement. It's like, oh, it is a whey supplement. And that's because it's supposed to supplement your actual regular good diet. But we're seeing a huge rise of it not being a supplement anymore. It's being the primary way people are getting their nutrition. And it's just contributing to everyone being overweight and depressed because you're eating mostly synthetic manufactured chemicals that get you protein and then nothing else in addition to that.
And here's the punchline. Some of the products marketed as high protein have even less protein than they claim. Take Lenny and Larry's cookies. They probably claimed 16 grams of protein with over 400 calories. Jeez. Already a bit questionable.
That is a meal. People have meals that are 440 calories for one cookie.
But when tested, they were found to have 4 to 9 grams of protein, which is what I love about a piece of chicken. And
less than half? That is crazy. I think that also happened with, there was a big study done on a bunch of protein powders that found that most of them have less than half of the amount they claim. Yeah, here we go. Of the 36 products, which is just different protein powders, 9 had less than 40% detected protein content, while the rest had above 60%. Overall, 25% of protein supplements, almost 70% were mislabeled about protein content. That is, the protein content per 100 grams in the analysis was less than what was advertised on the product, featuring less than 10% to 50% deficient. 2 products from one manufacturer had 62% and 50% lower protein content, while a commonly prescribed protein from a well-reputable brand also mislabeled protein content of approximately 30% deficit than advertised. Yeah, so basically 70% of protein products that, at least that have been tested so far, have less protein than they say. Some of them having only like 30% of the protein product that they say they do.
Whole Foods. No bullshit or asterisks involved. So here's a question worth asking. If the protein bars and cookies that you're relying on turned out to not be high in protein, would your diet fall apart? Because if the answer is yes, probably a red flag. One simple test, which helps me choose shakes and bars, is to take the calories, knock off the last 0 and compare. If a product has more grams of protein than this number, it's pretty good. So a bar with 190 calories and 20 grams of protein, decent. But 480 calories and 16 grams of protein is starting to look more like expensive candy.
Especially when it's 4 to 9 grams of protein. When it's half to a fourth of that, yeah, definitely not worth it.
Protein sticker. Protein isn't the problem, the marketing is. And
I wouldn't even say the marketing's the problem, because protein is actually good for you when studies show that consuming more protein leads to better health outcomes. The problem is specifically the companies that are doing this, not so much the marketing that protein is good. I would argue the problem is capitalism, which is like 90% of humanity's problem.
Lay's isn't slowing down, but you can before buying into the next shiny label.
That was The Protein Obsession is Out of Control by Josh Brett. Great video. Thanks for watching.